Hi there and Happy New Year 2021 to everybody. We're in the middle of January now, so it's a couple of weeks after Christmas, and we've got a week between house sits, and we've come to a commercial campsite which is about 15 minutes south of Whangarei in Northland, so we're about 2 hours north of Auckland. Ideally we wouldn't have a gap in our house sitting, but that's just the way it's worked out. What I mean by that is we wouldn't have a gap in the house sitting at this time of year because all the places that we'd normally come with a van get really busy over Christmas and the month immediately after Christmas, but we got no choice. We've got a gap of a week, so we're up here, and as you can see it is pretty busy. It's not absolutely packed out, which it would have been over the New Year period, but there's still quite a lot of people here. We're parked up just here. Nice little spot. Just across the little roadway from us there's a whole series of tents, and we found out because we actually bumped into somebody that we knew from Whangarei who was part of this group. They've been coming here to this campsite at this time of year for about 40 or 50 years now. It's been going through the generations, so this is just one big bunch. They've sort of got tents set up for dining areas, tents set up for cooking, and they generally come here for a couple of weeks. Some of them leave their tents here over the whole of the summer. They'll go back to work because they're only living in Whangarei 15-20 minutes away, and then they'll come back here every weekend. Now, for those of you that normally travel quite a long way to get to your holiday destination, you might think, gee, why would you only come 15 minutes down the road? But this place is pretty spectacular, I have to say. It's by an estuary that runs onto then a huge long beach which runs for kilometre after kilometre. So if you want to go on the beach and do some surfing, or I guess some fishing, you can do that. Basically you just walk out towards that headland over there and you'll get round to the beach, which runs to the right. But if you want the sort of calmer waters of the estuary, you've got that available as well. So this is great for swimming. The tide's coming in, so in the next hour the water will basically be up to the edge here, and what it means is it's really shallow, obviously, for at least 50 meters, maybe 100 meters out from the shoreline, which is great for kids and for kayaking. And yesterday we managed to get out onto our paddleboard for the first time, so we'll see a little bit of that shortly. I was less than spectacular, has to be said, but you got to learn, so hopefully we'll get the opportunity in the next hour to head out again and give it another go.
Nice, good speed.
He's holding the pedal the right way now. Now he just needs to pull back, and he's got it.
Okay, well, here's Paul on his first paddleboard adventure. And
Actually, it's my second.
Okay.
I've already fallen off once.
yeah, so the second one, so hopefully there'll be no
I'm
falls.
blaming that because it wasn't inflated enough.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you can hear him because this is on a phone. But yeah, the first time he went onto the paddleboard was not inflated enough. So we had some really useful advice from a few people that have those boards. So he just pumped it up to a point of like failure when he could not breathe or move his arms. Apparently that is the indication that the board is inflated enough. So he will have another go now, and hopefully the board will be more stable and not as bendy. Here we go. And this is a really nice area apparently to start your paddleboarding. because it's quite shallow and sheltered, and we're at the Ruakaka campsite, and it is a nice cloudy day as well, for being in the water for a long time, so you actually don't get burned. So here's the bay. It is quite a good sized bay. So here we are after paddling for a while. Now we are doing a lying paddleboard. So the standing didn't work, the kneeling was okay. Now we have a lying one. How is the lying one?
Very comfortable.
Very comfortable. Okay. All right, here we go. A tip-top standing paddleboard. Finally, that's looking good. That's looking pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, Vassie's putting me to shame here. She looks like a pro. First time up on the board. Not a surprise, given how when we're doing the yoga, she can stand on one leg and do all sorts of contortions and exercises, and I'm staggering around all over the place. So I thought she'd actually be really good at this because she's just got such good balance. So she's taking to it like a duck to water. Now she's even trying to go backwards to turn herself around.
When I tried to turn with the back paddling, it's like, whoa! And kind of really shocked. You change balance.
I've just headed down to a quieter part of the campsite, so you can see the estuary sort of loops round at the back here. So there's lots of access points to get in with your kayak and whatever. Vassie's taking advantage of the quieter location to do some of her stretches and exercises here. Morning. How are they going? Okay. We'll just watch the sequence unfold for a little bit. Oh! Yeah.
I think I'm going.
That was less than a graceful transition.
I know, I thought I was just going forward. So I had to stop. I just realized that. Yeah, I'm definitely tipping forward.
I'm just looking at Vassie's legs tensing as she tries to sort of control her balance on the downward slope. And going on the paddleboard yesterday, I just did a little bit of standing up on it, and I was so tensed trying to keep my balance that this morning, I can't believe how stiff my legs are. I mean, I do all this cycling. It obviously uses different muscles because I'm really sore in my legs today. Okay, I think that's enough for the morning stretch routine.
I'll see you later.
Bye. Okay, I'm just taking the opportunity just to show you the setup that some of these campers have got. So this is actually the one next to where we're parked up, and the guy was telling me last night that in the base of this little enclosed trailer there's a 600 watt subwoofer. Luckily they haven't decided to use it yet. It'll probably vibrate everything off our camper van. So that's got a little bed inside it, and then they've got a gazebo, and hopefully what you can see in the corner there, they've got a huge domestic fridge freezer that they brought with them. I can't actually see the kitchen sink, but I think everything else is here. Right, here's the campsite that we're at, Ruakaka Beach Holiday Park, just in case anybody wants it for a future reference. So we're here. Where we went paddleboarding was from here and sort of out into this area. The estuary winds its way round back here. Vasi was doing some of her exercises back in here, so I think you can probably get a good appreciation of just how big this site is. I mean, we're just sort of looking at this little top part of the campsite. There's this huge area back here, and we came here in probably October time and it was empty. I mean, there were hardly any vehicles here at all, so it's interesting to see it now, you know, pretty full. So we'll just have a quick wander around now as we get into twilight and just check out what various families are doing in their little tent cities. So we will head up onto the top.
Busier today than yesterday.
Yeah. And there's some new caravans and there's some old caravans. Here's a very old one with its probably original awning. I wonder how many years service that's done. They probably come here every year, save the site. The duck certainly would be an annual visitor.
Don't let the ducks bite.
Don't let the ducks bite. That little boy said, sleep tight, don't let the ducks bite. So yeah, here we see a little enclave set up. Presumably that stops the kids from wandering out. The little temporary fence. We've got all the toys here.
Little pool.
A little pool, paddling pool as well, yeah. Yeah, they're well set up. It's a very calm time in the evening, this, when you go for a walk at this time. Just before it goes dark. Most people have eaten. Everybody's settling down. That's nice.
Yeah, most people have kayaks or paddle boards or boogie boards or something.
Yeah, so I think the big tents are for the adults and the small tents are for the kids.
Yeah. When they're independently sleeping, yeah, the teenagers.
Yeah.
Game of cards going on?
Yeah. And actually, despite all these people in close proximity, I have to say, everybody's really good in terms of keeping the noise down. About 10:30, it all starts to die away. 11 o'clock, it's very, very quiet. Okay, here we are, back again.
Back for the night.
So, one of the other things I'm going to do, I'm just going to put onto this video some information from one of the weather sites that I find very useful over here. And there's a huge storm coming into New Zealand. And we've headed this far north because this is about the only part of the country that's really going to get away with it. So there's a little strip down this coastline that we're on now where the temperatures are going to be in line with the average, which is about 25 degrees centigrade, so it's very pleasant. everywhere else the temperatures are plummeting. And what we're looking at there is the rain radar from this morning, Tuesday, and you can see it starting to work its way onto the South Island. These are the forecast charts, so this is rainfall forecast for the next 3 days, and where we are at the top of the country, not too much rain, but as you head south, quite a lot of rain. So that whole swathe down the west coast of the South Island, which is that sort of light blue colour, that's over 100 mils of rain, 150 mils of rain, and we're even going to get snow. So this is accumulated snowfall for 2 or 3 days forecast, and you can see all of the big mountain ranges in the South Island are going to get snow, and we're going to get high wind. So here's forecast wind gusts, and the purple basically is 120 kilometers an hour plus. Even further north it's going to be close to 100 kilometer an hour gusts of wind. That's going to give quite significant wave heights down the west coast. So again, far south of the South Island, 12 to 15 meter swells, but even just north of New Plymouth up to Auckland it's going to be 8 or 9 meter swells. So you just look up 8 to 9 meters, imagine a wave that high. And here's the killer if you're on holiday and it's supposed to be summer. This is changes from the normal temperature that you would expect at this time of year. Most of the North Island is going to be 4 to 8 degrees cooler than normal. There's a little strip around the edge which is 3 to 4 degrees cooler, and the area that we're in, which is going to be normal. But then in the South Island, just about all of the South Island is going to be at least 4 to 8 degrees cooler than normal, with some spots over 8 degrees cooler than normal. So it's just a good example of how, because New Zealand is a thin, a little landmass in the middle of the southern Pacific Ocean, we're really susceptible to big storms that come through. So, you know, ordinarily the summer weather is lovely. You could come on holiday for 2 or 3 weeks here and have a really great time swimming, sunbathing, sightseeing. But if you're unlucky enough to find that there's a storm that comes in the time that you are here, you could head back to somewhere like the Northern Hemisphere, having had a couple of weeks in New Zealand, saying, gee, I don't know why everybody says New Zealand's so nice, it's horrible. Because certainly if you were trying to go on holiday this week, apart from where we are in the far north, you'd be quite impacted by the bad weather. So, given all that horrible weather that's coming up the country, how lucky are we that we can be doing this on a Tuesday when everybody else is battening down the hatches. Second day out on the paddleboard for Vassie, standing up nicely, managing to control a huge hat at the same time as her balance. I don't think she can see much when the wind's blowing it. Trying to turn, okay. It's actually deceptively windy out there, and you sort of get halfway through the turn and then the wind stops you, spins you back. She's actually turning with the wind now, which is good. Look at that beautiful backdrop. Sandy beach at the end of the estuary. Whangarei heads in the background. Lovely.